Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Whipple again, and today we're going to talk about what is a social studies open response. We know for that you have taken many open responses in your time, but here at the beginning of the year, we want to make sure that you understand what we believe an open response is. And when we give you an open response, what we're looking for is you to write. We want to see how well you write. We want to see how well you can communicate what you're thinking. All right, we're going to give you a prompt. Usually in an open response, your prompt is a reading passage or a short story, but an open response in social studies is a little different. We're looking for something else. All right, we want, and so instead of giving you a reading passage, we may just give you a picture or a map, a graph, or a chart, because what we want is to see how well you can analyze the information, how well you can interpret it, and then how well you can answer the prompt. All right. You got to take what you know, use the prompt to get you started, and then show us what you've learned in class. All right. Now, there's a common mistake which you guys make, and I'm talking about a little bit already here, and that's when you take the prompt and lift the text right out the prompt and put it in your open response. We don't want you to copy the prompt. Now you can refer to it, you can comment on it, but don't be writing it, don't be copying it. Just to use, because what happens is you guys try to like fill up that space with stuff you got from the prompt, or you don't know what you're talking about, so you use the information from the prompt, or you doubt, you don't trust yourself, and you use the information from the prompt. And we're not going to let that go. We don't want that. That's not good enough for you. We expect more of you than just to be able to copy from the prompt. You did that back when you were in the fifth grade. You're not in the fifth grade anymore. All right. There are 10 rules for a strong social studies open response. When you do an open response, it's not just about answering the question. There's a format, there's a way we want you to do it. And if you follow these rules, you'll be golden. The first one is use an organizer. You have heard it over and over and over again. Every teacher you've ever had has tried to get you to use an organizer. We want you to use an organizer. We expect you to use an organizer. Now, it doesn't matter which one you use. I've got several here that are different suggestions. Pick which one's easiest for you, pick which one is best for you, and use it. Number two, when you look at that page, when you look at that blank paper, you are going to fill it up. You're not going to write half of it. You're not going to skip every other line. You're going to go from the top left to the bottom right and fill that page up. And this should be easy. When you know what you're talking about, the trick is to try to get everything in there in that little bitty space. All right? It shouldn't be a question of not filling it up. The trouble should be knowing when to stop. All right? And that's part of the thing about you're being tested on how well you organize what you know. But you're going to have to fill that page up. Start at the top, finish at the bottom. Number three, when I say start at the top, what I want you to do, you've been taught by your language arts teachers, indent your writing. You indent every paragraph. You take your thumb, you put it up there, and you start writing, at the top left corner of the paper, and you start writing to your thumb from your thumb. It's basic rules that we're trying to teach you how to be a writer. And sometimes it's just the mechanics. You can indent to your thumb. There you go. Do it. All right. You're also going to need 5 complex, well thought out sentences in your paragraph. Every paragraph you have, you make a statement. You got 3 examples supporting your statement, and then a quick conclusion. All right. I like ice cream. ice cream is sweet, ice cream is cold, ice cream has lots of good flavors. That is why I like ice cream. That is not a very good paragraph, right? But it shows the basic idea of what we want. You can do better than that paragraph. You're going to do better than that paragraph. Number 5, use all your space effectively. This goes back to number 3, where you indent, or number 2, where you fill from the top left to the bottom right. When I say effectively, I mean make sure you write inside the box. We don't want because you already know anything outside that box is not going to, it could be the best thing in the world. If it's outside the box, it doesn't count. All right. You're going to, don't skip lines. Make sure that you write neatly. This is effective use of space, writing neatly so that people can read what you've written, to help them understand what you're thinking, so that we can see what you know. Use your space effectively. And when you're using that space, include details. For goodness sake, you've got to all the time ask yourself why. You make a comment or a statement, ask yourself why, and then explain that in the paper. If you're talking about George Washington and you say that he was a good general, you ask yourself, why was he a good general? Oh, because he won important battles. And then you give the examples. Oh, he won Yorktown, or he won the Battle of Trenton. You say he was a good leader because he suffered the same that his troops did, like at Valley Forge. He inspired his men. He worked well with Congress. What made him a good general? Always give these details. Always be asking yourself, why? This is the difference between 5th grade writing and 8th grade writing. Because in 8th grade writing, you're not just giving the who, what, when, where. You're also giving the why. Language arts teachers have been trying to get you to use proper punctuation, spelling, and grammar. We expect you to do that in your social studies open responses. You've got to start your sentence with a capital letter. Your sentence has to have a verb. It has to have nouns. It has to have adjectives and adverbs, all those parts of speech. The words have to be spelled correctly so we can understand what you mean. And that your grammar, that you put the words together so that they make sense. You have learned how to do this. You've been taught how to do this. It is time to do it right. And when you answer your question, make sure you answer all parts of the question. Okay? You're going to be given a choice. We like to give you a choice. It's easier for you to write if you get to pick what you're writing about. So when you get your choice, you've got to make sure you ask yourself, you go back, did you answer all parts of the question? Because like the dog here in the picture, he was told to sit. He did a really cool trick, but he was told to sit. Did he do what he was told to do? No. And so he doesn't get credit. And you want to make sure that you get credit for what you do. If you write the best piece of writing in the world, it's smart, it's intelligent, you have all kinds of knowledge, the grammar, everything is there, but if it doesn't answer the question, it doesn't count. You've done all that work for nothing. Make sure you answer all parts of the question. And one of the things to make sure that you help you get credit for what you do is go in after you've finished writing everything, underline the vocabulary, show me the main ideas. If I have 4 different classes and 25 to 30 students in each classes, I'm looking at maybe up to 120 open responses. I don't have time to sit and look at each one as well as I'd like to, which means you are going to have to show me, you have to help me out. And the way you do that is underlining. If you get a highlighter and highlight it, that'll help. I don't care if it's, it's not going to hurt me. It will be better if you have a highlighter. That's what they're for. Last thing, this is the last one. Proofread your work. All right. There are many, many times where you say something serious, but because of the way you wrote it, or grammar mistakes, or spelling mistakes, you end up saying something else, right? You've got to go back and read what you wrote and ask yourself, is that what I wanted to say? Is that the way I wanted to say it? Does it still make sense? When you're finished writing, you are not finished with your open response until you proofread your work. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Before I finish up, I've got a couple reminders here. First off, when you sit down, I want you to engage that social studies muscle in your brain. Be thinking about social studies when you do the open response. The second thing, don't copy the information from the prompt. We know what the prompt is. You're not going to impress us by how well you copy the prompt. And the last thing, follow those 10 rules. We've been trying to teach you all this stuff ever since you started kindergarten. And now is the time for you to put it all together. You go into the high school next year. You want to go to the high school being able to write. You don't want the teacher to look and think, oh, not only do I have to teach high school stuff, but I have to teach them stuff they should have learned in the middle school. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you listening. Y'all take care. Have a good day.